Welcome everybody to the long-awaited unveiling of the Rod Serling statue, a tribute to one of the 20th century's most influential writers and someone who came right here from our hometown, city of Binghamton. Let's hear it for us. As you know, this is part of the Serling Centennial Celebration that's been going on in a number of places all year. 1924 to 2024. So we finally got all the pieces in place to have this beautiful statue. I'd like to welcome members of the Serling family, the Serling Foundation members, the Memorial Foundation members, visitors who are here from out of town. I understand there were people from 24 different states and plus New York. And I think people from several other countries. Welcome community members. Many of you have been watching this process go on for a number of months. I'd like to welcome the dignitaries who are here. Got a little feedback here. We're joined by Mayor Jared Cram, Senator Leah Webb, County Legislator Bob Wessler, City Council President Hadassah Nedvisky, Councilwoman Kenny Middleton, and Councilman Robert Kavanaugh. If somebody else slipped in, I didn't see you, I apologize. This project is widely anticipated and supported by many of our elected officials. I also want to acknowledge that our Broome County historian is here, Roger Luther. Big shout out to Roger. And we have a very special guest who's sitting in the front row. Her name is Shar Laskowski. She was a classmate of Rod Serling.
Yay!
She was a classmate during junior high school and high school, and remembered him during what period? During the break periods, or I forget what it's called. East Junior High School, yes. So, thank you, Shar, for being here. It means an awful lot. I'm sure he would find it really very exciting to know you. My name is Donald Ricardo. I represent the area in the State Assembly. I'm a huge fan of Rod Serling. My whole worldview has been shaped by Twilight Zone and his important works. I am very honored to have been a part of this project. I helped kickstart the endeavor with an assembly grant and served as the overall project coordinator on the ground. You can't imagine the number of details it takes to install a statue. You think it would be easy, not so easy. I want to thank some people in particular and some groups. So certainly to the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation, who oversaw the design and the development of the statue at a place called statues.com in Utah. So shout out to the Memorial Foundation. Shout out to the Serling members who played a very important role through the entire design phase of the statue. Thank you to Victoria Carpos from statues.com. She wanted to be here and wanted to let you know that, quote, creating the Serling statue was the highlight of our 32-year business career. It really meant a lot to me. And they were honored to participate in this. I want to shout out in particular to David Cooley. He's with Binghamton Johnson City Monument Company. David, where are you? Raise your hand. He's out there someplace. There he is. He went above and beyond to make sure that a company called Rock of Ages designed this very pedestal to make sure it matched the statue, was here when it arrived, put them together. So many details you cannot imagine. We cannot thank him enough for his effort and again, the attention to detail. Also, I want to thank Jason Fenton from PJS Concrete. Believe it or not, that is not just a little concrete pad. That goes down 6 feet into the ground below the frost line with rebar. It was a whole construction project. No one knew that would happen. Thank you to the donors, those who purchased bricks. The mini ones are available on the table over there. And just so you know, this site, when it's completed, we're not quite there yet, it's going to have a very nice decorative border around it. The bricks are going to make a pathway out to this other path. There's going to be a much more rigorous camera. There's a camera on it right now up there for safety purposes, which we're very happy about. And also the city is going to install benches. We were very mindful about where the statue was placed. It's in a quieter part of the park to create a more contemplative space. We also figured there were going to be a lot of people who want to come and sit and think about Rod Serling and his legacy, and of course, all of the things he inspired going forward. So what we're going to be doing, and for those of you who are in the sun, we're going to make this quick, short program, because we really want to get to the statue. We're going to hear from Mayor Cram, we're going to hear from Ann Serling, Jody Serling, and Nick Parisi, who's the president of the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation. In that order, I'm not going to come back and reintroduce. We're just going to come up and then we're going to unveil the statue. Mayor, I've been advised to inform you that the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation would very much like to gift this statue to you officially. And of course, Nick will speak to that later. But Mayor Cram, in acceptance of this statue.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
What a great day in the city of Binghamton. As mayor of the city of Binghamton, I officially accept this gift of the Rod Serling statue to forever be in Recreation Park here on Binghamton's west side. First and foremost, we want to thank members of the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation, Nick, Andy, and the board who have worked tirelessly to make this vision for honoring Rod Serling a reality. I also want to thank members of the Serling family who have always generously shared their story and legacy of Rod here in Binghamton. We are eternally grateful. Leading the charge on this initiative in the early days was Assemblywoman Donna Lapardo, an advocate for the arts in our community. Please, round of applause. And it's not just this statue. Assemblywoman Lapardo has done a great deal to shine a spotlight on Binghamton, its culture, its role in the world, and this statue is just one piece of her work. Another round of applause for Donna Lapardo. And we also want to thank members of the Binghamton Parks and Rec Department who worked with the foundation and the construction crews to install this. We'll be taking care of this statue in the long term, making sure it's secure. They also are going to make sure that Recreation Park remains the crown jewel of the city park system. And Recreation Park, of course, is a fitting location. Mr. Serling grew up a short walk from here on Bennett Ave, and like many of us from this community, his childhood was shaped by this park in meaningful ways. But unlike most of us, Mr. Serling would go on to use the park as an inspiration for some of the greatest storytelling this world has ever known. I say most of us because that chapter in Binghamton's story isn't closed yet. Every year, fifth graders from the Binghamton City School District spend part of their year learning about Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone. The curriculum culminates in a Rod Serling Day celebration at the high school, where students come together, hear from guest speakers, and share their own creative works inspired by Rod Serling. A whole new generation of Binghamton kids who are talking about the Twilight Zone, experimenting with imagination and science fiction, and learning that they can grow up to create something truly remarkable, just like Rod Serling did before them. The statue is as much about celebrating a key figure in Binghamton's history as it is about inspiring the future generations of storytellers, innovators, and difference makers. And it elevates Binghamton's status as an international destination for fans of Rod Serling and his unparalleled contributions to the world of storytelling. Again, on behalf of the entire community, thank you to all those who worked so hard to make this possible. Binghamton is better for it. Thank you very much.
Apologies, Mayor, I really left off thanking City Parks Department. They are fantastic. They accommodated every change, everything that we needed. And to this day, the carousel is running, bathrooms are open. They couldn't do enough to help us get that together. Also, I wanted to point out when I was saying that this was put in this place consciously, he is specifically looking out over his neighborhood and his beloved park with the carousel down at the stretch. So thank you again for everything that happened.
Welcome, and thank you so much for coming. This is quite a moment. One that many have worked so hard to make a reality. To that, I want to begin by thanking those selfless, hardworking people. In absentia, thank you to my father's teacher and lifelong friend, Helen Foley. Helen adored my dad and he her. It was Helen who saw behind the class clown to see my dad's potential. I'd like to thank her for her insight and her patience. I'd also like to thank my dad's old childhood friends who, along with Helen, started the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation. Thank you to all the folks who are still on the foundation board and work tirelessly to keep my father's memory alive. You know who you are. Thank you. Also to all the foundation members who generously contribute. We couldn't do this without all of you. Thank you to Donna Lopardo for her dedication in securing funds, and thanks too to the art team of Marble Cast Productions and Victoria for their patience with me when I went to Salt Lake City to see and discuss the statue. They kindly endured my endless queries. Could you tweak this or that? Many of you know my dad's quote from Binghamton, in part, everybody's got to have a hometown. Binghamton's mine. My father loved it here. His dear childhood and lifelong friend, Julius Golden, shared a great many memories with me of them as kids here. Julie said that he and my dad would play a lot of tennis at Recreation Park, but that a typical Serling Golden afternoon would be meeting at Julie's father's clothing store on Water Street, and then walking next door to the Lyric Theater for a double feature. Julie said the best they ever saw was Frankenstein and Dracula. As I wrote in my memoir, every summer when we came east, my dad would leave our cottage and take an annual pilgrimage back to Binghamton. He would drive by his house on Bennett Avenue and make his way here to Recreation Park, sit on the bench and watch the merry-go-round. It seems only fitting that the statue would be erected here. In closing, I would be amiss if I didn't mention the two people whom without there would be no Rod Serling, no statue, and that's his parents, Sam Serling and Esther Cooper Serling. I'd like to imagine a Twilight Zone moment where they're here, maybe somewhere in the distance looking on. How enormously proud they would be, how honored, and mostly happy that they brought their boy home, that we brought their boy home to the place he loved best, Binghamton. Thank you.
Good day to everyone celebrating the unveiling of my father's marvelous statue. It's such an incredible honor for my family to celebrate this remarkable gift, and my dad would have been so honored and blessed by this presentation. Thank you all for being here. I wish my mother could be here to celebrate this wonderful honor, for she was my dad's Rock of Gibraltar. He turned to her throughout his writing career for advice and support, and after his passing, she continued to support and honor him by protecting and promoting his legacy all these decades. Forgive me if some of this sounds familiar, but my sister and I have shared family memories, and I wanted to be sure to share mine with you. Binghamton was my father's stepping stone, which provided him with beautiful memories of his idyllic childhood, memories of family, friends, and love, as well as a tranquility and peace of a simpler time. Binghamton was my dad's touchstone. My dad was quoted with the following, which perfectly sums up his love and admiration for Binghamton. And I'm sure a lot of you have already heard this, but I'm going to read it again. Everybody has to have a hometown, and Binghamton was mine. In the strangely brittle makeup of a human being, there's a need for a place to hang the hat or a kind of geographical wound to crawl back into. Or maybe just a place that's familiar, because that's where you grew up. For whatever else I may have had or lost or will find, I still got a hometown, and this nobody's going to take away from me. I am sure many of you are familiar with my dad's classic Twilight Zone episode, Walking Distance, one of the most beloved and memorable episodes of the series. This was certainly the most personal Twilight Zone script my father ever wrote. It's autobiographical and represents the story of my dad longing to go back in time and revisit his childhood. As a child, I did not fully understand what depth and meaning that this town of Binghamton held for my dad, but we all get it now loud and clear. Every summer, our family would take our annual summer trip to our cottage on Cayuga Lake. This was an opportunity for Dad to take his annual visits to Binghamton. These visits helped my dad relive the memories of his family and friends, and it also offered my dad the solitude that he could not attain or experience living in the hustle bustle of Los Angeles. Now as an adult, I fully understand and share the warmth and peace that my dad must have felt as he would go back to Binghamton. Drive by his old home, go to the park and carousel, and take walks, traveling down memory lane. This experience gave my dad a peace that he so longed for in his life, and these are the part of memories that play such a part in his heartfelt writings, and especially Walking Distance. Binghamton was the center of his universe and the starting gate for his creativity. So it's clearly appropriate that my dad's statue stand here, representing his love and dedication to the town in which he grew up in. All I know is that if my dad was here to see this tribute, he would be overwhelmed, grateful, and humbled. He always said he would be honored just to be a writer, but we know that he was more than that, more than a writer. He was a kind and gentle man, and my quote about my dad was that he was a unique storyteller who knew how to deliver meaningful sermons wrapped in a cloak of science fiction entertainment. He had the gift for being so nostalgic, funny, caring, a talent that you rarely see in a writer today. However, of most importance, my dad was a loving husband, father, and friend. My father taught me about decency, faith, and honesty. He learned these things right here growing up with his family in Binghamton. Family was extremely important to him as well as it is to me. As Michelle Obama said in her DNC speech, my father too tried to set his moral compass high. I will follow my dad's footsteps, and I will continue to honor his legacy just as my mom did for over 45 years. Dad, you are so much missed by all of us, and we stand here together in your honor. Thank you all for your dedication and support.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. I'm Nick Parisi. I'm the current president of the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation. I'm so happy to be able to be here and just to say a few words to commemorate this occasion. The Rod Serling Memorial Foundation was formed nearly 40 years ago, 1985, and this project was a long time in the making. So first I'd like to acknowledge just a few of the past presidents of the foundation. Andy Pollack is with us today. Andy led the foundation for several years, and he's a gigantic part of what's going on here today. So thank you, Andy, for everything you've done to honor Rod Serling's legacy and everything you continue to do. Michael Pfeiffer, the first elected president of the foundation, he sadly passed away earlier this year, and he was a good friend, and I so wish he could have been here to see what we've accomplished here today. So in Mike's memory, I wanted to acknowledge him for certain. And maybe most significant, been mentioned earlier, but the person who started our foundation, Ms. Helen Foley. If there was ever a doubt about who was Rod Serling's greatest champion, just consider that Helen Foley once said, and I quote, "Our memorial committee has worked trying to get the city of Binghamton to come to its senses and name everything in the city after Rod Serling." Well, we may not have gone quite as far as Ms. Foley would have liked, but I can't help but think that she would be very happy to see what we've done here today. The board of the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation, many of them are standing behind me, so please give a round to the board of the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation, who, as Ann mentioned, donate their time and talents to trying to preserve and promote the legacy of someone who's very, very special to all of us. I need to thank, again, Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo, who worked her magic behind the scenes to help make this happen, and who we put through the ringer at times, but who stuck with us and never abandoned the project, even though she may have been tempted to at times. Mayor Cram for his blessing of this project, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nick Ballard and everyone at the Parks Department for helping this go as smoothly as it possibly could have gone. You know, gifting this statue to the city of Binghamton as we are is made much easier knowing that it's going to be in very good hands. In a play titled The Velvet Alley, Rod Serling wrote, "Every artist leaves behind monuments or ruins." And one of the sad ironies of Rod Serling's life may have been that he may never have really fully appreciated the magnitude of the monuments that he left behind. Well, now we have this literal monument to say that we understand the magnitude of what Rod Serling left behind. That Binghamton embraces Rod Serling's legacy, and now we have a monument that will stand here in Recreation Park as a permanent reminder to everyone who visits here that one of the 20th century's great writers called Binghamton home. So thank you so much for being here, and without further ado, let's get this thing unwrapped and show everybody this magnificent piece of work. Ann and Jody, please join us.